Hello, everyone, and welcome to our weekly 30-minute webinar. My name is John Deline, a systems engineer here at Variphy, and I will be your host today. We're joined by Brian McKay, one of Variphy's finest systems engineers. Can you feel the spring in the air today, Brian?
I can. I am so ready for this rain to be done and get in some shorts weather. Yes.
It'll be a while.
I'm hoping not too long, but yeah.
Not as long as winter, but
Yeah, definitely not where you are. A little
right.
warmer here usually, but it's been crazy here in California. So
Yeah. All right. For today's webinar, Brian is going to walk us through toggling on data summaries and demonstrating the statistics found there, including how to display busy hours in your reports. We're going to start off with a quick overview of our company and what we do. We'll jump into a live demo where Brian is going to show you how to see busy hours in your reports. We'll pause for Q&A and get some of your questions answered. During the demo, if you have any questions, make sure to ask them in the Q&A panel. After Q&A, we'll award one lucky attendee with a $50 Amazon gift card. So hang around to see if you're the winner. Variphy is the preferred analytics and management solution for Cisco collaboration, providing industry-leading, customizable reporting and analytics and dashboards for Call Manager, UCCX, Cube, and now Zoom, along with a suite of tools like remote phone control, change management, macros, and DID management. But for today, we're going to be focusing on data summaries and how to see busy hours in reports. If you have any other questions on any of our other features, or if you have any interest in taking our Zoom analytics for a spin, feel free to message in the Q&A panel or reach out to your account manager for more information. One more thing before we kick things off. Variphy does offer a managed consulting service where Variphy's SE team engages with you on a one-on-one basis to remotely provide additional consulting, unassisted reporting, dashboarding, configuration, and system monitoring assistance. This is a service that provides you with a dedicated Variphy SE to do all the heavy lifting, giving you a completely hands-off experience. For more information, please contact us, and we'd be glad to speak to you more in depth about our Ninja Enhanced services. With all that said, let's head off into the wild, Brian. Ready to take it away?
Thank you. Thank you, John. Appreciate the intro, as always. Let me see. I got to make myself presenter, I guess. Or maybe you have to make me presenter. Oh, wait. There we go. I think we're getting somewhere here. All right. You guys should be seeing my screen now. I'm going to cancel the picture-in-picture. Everything look good on your end, John?
Yes, sir. I can see the dashboard.
Just make sure. This is my first time doing this in Zoho instead of WebEx, so just want to make sure everything goes smooth.
Mine too.
All right. Good times for everybody. So thanks again for joining us today, everybody. We appreciate you taking time in your busy schedule for these webinars. And as always, if you miss it, they're always posted on our website within 24 hours afterwards. So if you ever need to come back and review this, by all means, find us there. So I'm just going to show you how to build reports that can show some time statistics. Basically, I've just built some basic reports for the different platforms and some widgets, which I'll show you as well. Like I said, they're very basic. I just kind of want to give you the building blocks. You can, of course, build more and more advanced things. I'm kind of a dashboard minimalist, though, so I like to build kind of more simple, basic dashboards. There's some people in this company who I won't name names. Matt Sykes, who like to build just really elaborate dashboards. Every time I look at his dashboards, I feel like I'm a NASA mission control or something. And that's cool, but sometimes maybe you don't need all that. Maybe you just want kind of a simple at a glance information. So that's kind of what we're going to start with. And of course, once you get the hang of the basics, you can always incorporate more and more stuff in, add different statistic types, make the graphs more complex. Depending on what kind of data you're looking for. So let's start with CUCM, because that's probably what you're going to be most commonly using this. But I've also done this in Zoom. I've done it in UCCX, and I've done it in Cube. So we'll show you all that real quick. So I just started with a real basic report. This is the first one I started, and then I just copied it and modified it to make these other two. So first one is busy hours by hour of day. And I'll show you what this looks like and how we put it together. And like I said, it's a very basic report. So it's just looking at all internal, extensions, 4-digit extensions. So I just use a wildcard for that. You can, of course, narrow this down to more specific buckets if you want, using specific extension ranges, device pools, departments. There's a variety of ways to search, but I'm just pulling everything. We just kind of have a lab environment with about 30 days of data in it. And I just want to pull kind of just a quick, top-down view of what the total calls look like. Now you can do a couple of different things if you want it just real simple. What you're going to do is build your search criteria. And then in the search set statistics, this is where you're going to choose if you want to see charts and tables for time of day. So you can basically see how busy you are based on hour of the day. You can even go quarter and half hour of the day if you want to get that granular. But most commonly, people are going to use hour of day, day of week, date, week, or month. And like I said, since we only have about a month's worth of data in the lab environment, I just did it based on the date, day of week, and hour of day. So you just select what you want here. You may have to toggle some of this stuff on. So you have an option of tables. And I'm just doing total call count for now, again, keeping it simple, but you can add a whole bunch of stuff if you want to add additional things: connected call stats, abandoned call stats, answered, forwarded, voicemail, transferred, tons of stuff you can add. Absolutely encourage you to play around with that. But for now, we'll just look at total call count, and we want it by hour of day. So we have a few different things. We have call statistics, which is the actual count, scenarios, which is the types of calls, and then the volume charts. And this is probably what you're going to be most interested if you're just looking for a quick at-a-glance view of your busy times is the scenario chart. So I'm just going to do one for hour of day. I'm going to leave all the details turned off. We're not going to turn on call history or any of that stuff. We just want to keep it pretty basic summary. So this should give you like a basic 2-page summary. And then you can also turn on data grouping and make it a little more complicated if you want. But let's just start with the basic summary. I know we've only got about 20 minutes or so I don't want to get too in the weeds. But so let's go back here. I'm going to make sure grouping's turned off, actually, because I don't want to do that right now. Let me just save this and run this for current month, for example. Let's just say you want to get an idea of what your busy times are in the month. So let's run this for, and we're waiting. This was like lightning fast when I was playing around with this earlier. Okay, here we go. Not too bad. So let's do search time window. I'm going to change this to current month. You can do exclusions if you want. If you don't want weekends, you can exclude those. If you don't want after business hours, you can basically just include like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., however you want to do it. I'm just going to leave everything in for now. But you can fine tune this to the specific days and the time ranges you want, time zone, etc. So let's just go ahead and run that. Make sure that is running for PDF, so we get the charts. So one caveat with the charts: it only shows up in PDF or HTML. They do not appear in Excel or CSV files. That's just kind of a formatting limitation of the output on those formats. So make sure you're always using PDF or HTML if you're going to include graphics in your reports. All right, let's go ahead and run that. It shouldn't take too long. These were pretty quick when I was testing them out earlier. So let me go ahead and run this. So this just gives you the quick summary, all calls, 15,000 calls for the month. Then it breaks it down by the charts with your averages, percentages, and then your time of day charts. With the basically the call counts per hour. Now, since we're running this for a month, this is actually going to be an aggregate. So anytime you run it for a time period that's actually outside of the time period, it's going to do a combination of those numbers. So for example, if you run a call count per hour of day for just one day, then that's going to show the actual hourly counts, accurately for that day. But if you're doing it for a week or a month, what it's going to do is to take an aggregate. So it's going to take every hour from every Monday and combine those, every hour from every Tuesday and combine those, etc., into an aggregate. So you'll see, the average total busiest times by day and by hour of day. with that. So that's what we're going to see down here. So this is for a whole month. This is actually an aggregate of all the hours throughout all the days of the month. So you can see that 9 a.m. Is trending as the busiest time. Pretty common. We'll see busiest times in the mornings, and then it'll drop off. And then this one's dropping off kind of towards the afternoon, but sometimes you'll see a spike. We see a lot of these where they kind of spike, dip around lunchtime, and then spike. That's pretty common. But yeah, that's basically what it looks like in the quick summary view. Again, you can make these more granular. You can do more specific search sets. But there's a grouping summary you can turn on that can get really granular if you want to get crazy with the details. And I'll show you what one of those looks like real quick. Let me close this one. I don't want to get 50 browser tabs open up here like usual. So let me change this, the hour of the day one. I'm going to turn on grouping statistics. We're going to do it. I think we're just going to match it to the search set, which was calling party or final call party. So let's do the same thing here. Calling party. Oops. Calling party or final call party. There we go. And you can do it either by name label, which is basically alphanumerically, sequentially, or you can do it by total call count, highest to low. So that might be a good way to go. That way you can see who is the busiest, also as far as who's taking the most calls. And then you can do toggle on this grouping summary for the individual numbers. So if you want to see individual data, and again, you don't have to do this necessarily by calling party. There's a bunch of different ways you can do this. You can do it by date. You can do it by end user ID, device name, device description, department, et cetera, et cetera. There's a bunch of different options you can choose, but I'm just going to match it to the search set criteria. So again, we're just kind of keeping it simple and uniform. So we'll go ahead and run this with the grouping summary details turn on, and that's going to give you a much more detailed report, maybe too detailed, but again, you may need to see this data, and this is going to be a fairly long report without call details. Even it's just going to be all kind of summary charts and tables, but it's going to be a lot because it's doing it for each number basically. So again, you could filter it down to larger buckets, like by departments or something like that. That might be a little more useful, a little more user friendly. But let's just see what this looks like. I'm going to do the same thing. Yeah, let's do it for current month. That's fine. This might take a little bit longer to run, of course, with all the details. So that's another reason I like to kind of keep them simple for these to start with, just because the more details and the more analytics you add to a report, the longer it might take to run. It's just pretty common. All right, so what we see in here is now we're getting this summary by each number, and it's showing from the busiest top down. So we can see 8,000, which is like a main line, 4,300 calls, and then each of these individual lines are getting, anywhere from 400 to let's see what the slow poke is down here. Any zeros? Nope. Just okay. So one bunch of one hitters here, but nothing too crazy. So then it's going to show you the this is the summary chart again, which is what we saw in the last one. But then it's going to give you a breakdown with these percentages for each individual number or whatever category you group it by. Obviously, doing it by departments would be a much shorter list with higher counts because it'd be grouping all these into departments instead of by individual phone lines. But it's going to give you all of this detail with the hour by hour counts for each individual extension in the report. And then it's going to give you, if you keep scrolling down, I told you it was long. If you keep scrolling down, it's going to give you individual charts for each extension or, whatever other organization you want to group it by, with the time of day statistics as well. So yeah, here's the 8,000, the main number line. So we're seeing, 600 something calls at the peak, and then that kind of trails off throughout the day. And then you'll see the calls for each individual extension. And this is by order of how many calls they took. So the charts, are going to be scaling down as you go down. They're starting around, in the 80s, and then as they go down, you're going to see those charts scale down less and less as we get down to 4 calls, 6 calls, and so again, that may be a lot more detail than you need, or maybe just what you need. And you can also run this with additional details. You can turn on actual individual call details if you want. I'm not going to do that now because with 15,000 calls, it's probably going to take a minute to run that. But basically, you can get as granular as you want. You can add additional details. So let's take a look at some of the additional details you can add. Let's see. So yeah, you can add all of this stuff as far as connected, abandoned, transferred voicemail, all this stuff, and again, how much of that you need to see is all entirely up to you. But so that's the hour of the day, but there's other ways to track this as well. So you can also show your busy times by day of the week or by date. So let's run day of the week real quick. It should be running for the same time period, I believe, which is current month. Yeah, okay. So let's go ahead and run that. All right, and so same thing. Now it's giving us by Sunday through Saturday, day of the week count. And again, this is an aggregate, so it's counting every Sunday of the month, every Monday of the month, and this kind of combining them together. So if you did it for a week, these would actually be accurate counts per day for that week. But because we're doing a wider time frame, it's going to just aggregate it together. Again, you can turn on the same summary details that we just did in that other report. If you want to have all the individual charts and graphs for everybody, you could certainly do that. And then the other one that's most commonly used is by date. I like this one because it actually shows the exact date. So this is going to be a more accurate if you're doing a wide. It's not going to be an aggregate. It's going to be an actual count per date. So it's going to be a little more date specifically accurate. Okay, so let's do the same thing, current month, and then run that. And then same count, and then it's got the chart again, and then it gives you specific dates in the chart. And then if it exceeds the width of the page, it'll just break it up into multiple charts if it needs to. If you're doing it for like a quarter or something like that, you can certainly do that. And then these are going to be the actual accurate call counts per each date, as opposed to an aggregate by the day of the week kind of thing. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. Again, there's lots of details you can add. We'll add some more details in the widgets so we can kind of see that more on the fly as the widgets update in a minute here. But you can do these for pretty much any type of report we have. So I've got some in, I've got one in Cube that I threw together. And I tried to run this for a month and it took forever. So I'm just going to run it for like one day. But basically, the report building is a little bit different. You can look at sequences or individual events. It's fairly similar to what you're going to see in CUCM. It gets a little different in the Zoom and the CUCX reports. We'll leave grouping off. Same thing. Total call count. Let's maybe throw in like abandoned. I can type. Maybe it doesn't have that one here. Let's see. Long transferred. Yeah, okay. Yeah, forward call count not connected. Okay, yeah, doesn't have a category for that. Okay, that's fine. We'll just keep it simple. Again, we're not running any call details. We'll leave the grouping statistic off. We don't need to see that. But I'm just doing it by calling a final call party. Again, starts with X. This is going to capture everything as opposed to just the 4-digit extension. We use the capital X Cisco wildcards quite a bit. It just helps reduce the number of search sets. You know, you can why put in a bunch of individual numbers if you can just use you know, the wildcards, of course. So this is going to pretty much just look like the other ones, but I just want to show you it's a little bit different as far as the options available. Yeah, I think I'll skip this one because I know we're getting a little shorter on time. So let's go ahead and look at some of the other ones. I did a Zoom one. I think I threw together a couple of Zoom ones here, but we'll just run this one as well. I'll show you basically. It's a little bit different as far as the. Oh, actually, I forgot to edit this first. Let me show you that. So it's a little bit different. The terminology is a little bit different. For example, instead of original or calling or final call party number, it's just caller or called number. There's a lot less options to choose from in Zoom, but you know, the basics are still there. They just might have a little bit different terminology. So I'm just doing, again, you know, caller or called number starts with X, just trying to capture everything, but you can limit that to 4-digit extensions or whatever extension format your Zoom devices are in. Other than that, it's pretty much going to be the same. You can turn on the grouping statistics for the individual stuff, but we'll leave that off for now. Search statistics are going to look pretty much identical. The only thing that's really different is like I said, the terminology a little bit in the search sets, and that's pretty much it. So let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and just run this one real quick. Let's do the hour a day one. Again, you're going to want to stick with PDF. That ran pretty quick. That was nice. So 2,800 calls for the month, and then it's going to aggregate by the hour of the day. You know, everybody's taking 3 martini lunches right here. Apparently, that's a pretty big dead spot in the middle of the day. But you know, that's not bad overall as far as call counts. And again, like I said, you tend to see it spike in the morning and spike in the afternoon. That's pretty common. Let's take a look real quick at the CCX stuff. That's a little different as well on how you set those up. So let me go ahead and do that. I've set up reports for day of week, and hour of day for these as well, but I'll do the hour of day ones for now, just to keep it simple because I know we're running short on time. So for this one, the way you put the report together is a little bit different. First of all, you need to for CSQ, you need to first select your CSQs, which I've done. There's a bunch more in here, but I just picked the busy ones. CSQ statistics. So you're going to add a CSQ statistical content. I've already created this one, so we can expand that. So I just did it again, hour by hour of day, busy time. Include CSQ summary charts is what you're going to want by default. Now, if you want charts for each specific queue or CSQ, you can turn that on with this toggle here. In fact, let's go ahead and do that one for this one. And then again, I just did very basic, you know, hour of day total call count. But there's, you know, tons of statistics you can throw in here with that. So the more statistics you throw in, it might break it up into multiple graphs, and it's going to add multiple color-coded bars to the graphs for different types of calls. So just be aware of that. Let's try like total count, abandoned count. Let's just add a few different ones. Handled count. Let's see. Transferred count. Let's just run those 3. That's good. Again, we don't really need call details in this one. Leave that off. Okay, so this should give us a summary chart, and it's gonna kind of do it a little different. I think it gives the summary chart at the bottom, well, as the other one, the CCM, gives it at the top. But other than that, it's going to look pretty similar. So yeah, once you have this built, and you can build another one for. This is doing the chart. If you want to build a table as well, You could just do CSQ table. That's what any description really. And then you can do summary statistics table, and same thing, total count. I'll do abandon count. All right, and let's see, what did I have in the other one? Handle count, that's right. Okay. Okay, so we'll just throw these in real quick. And we'll go ahead and save that. And I don't think there's anything else you really need to do. Okay, so we'll save that. Okay, let's run that. Okay, looks good. Okay, so this is going to give you your breakdown in the table. Now you've got total count, abandon count, handle count, broken down by the CSQ. Got your summary totals. And then this is what I was talking about, the color-coded chart. So abandon count in blue looks pretty low, except for the 1 o'clock hour there. I guess, everybody was a little impatient after lunch or something. That seems to be the only time it has any real abandoned activity. But other than that, looks pretty good. So handle count is pretty closely matching total count for most of these. So that's good. That's what we want to see. If you see a big disparity between, the gold and the green per se, that's probably not a good thing. It means that a lot of calls are not getting handled. And if that were the case, you'd probably see a higher abandon count as well. But there may be other reasons why they're not getting handled. They may be going to voicemail, things like that. Okay. And then this is doing by CSQ specifically. So this is the cars one, the CSD one, etc. IT help desk, etc. So now we're seeing higher abandon counts in the individual ones, but still seeing the handle count fairly close to the total count. It just depends on the queue, obviously. Some are better than others, but and some hours are going to be better than others as well. But this is a good way to kind of see the trends, especially over a longer term. And like I said, you can run these for longer terms. Even you can break them down by a month, etc. So if you're running a quarterly report, that might be a good thing to have. You can put different views in. Pretty easy to change on the fly, which I like. All right, let me show you some dashboards I built really quick. This is for CUCM. I just did busy hour of the day of the week, and by date for the month. So you can see these statistics here. Again, you can add more stuff to these and get crazy with them. But just keep in mind that the dashboard widgets can be pretty resource intensive. The more of them you have and the more stuff you add to them. So, try not to go hog wild with them, but have some fun with them for sure. So then I did CSQ busy by hour of the day. There's not really an agent busy by hour of the day widget that I saw, so I didn't include that one, but you can do it by CSQ. Now, one caveat with the CSQ is that you can only do one CSQ at a time, so you can select it from a drop-down. So you'd have to do an individual widget for each CSQ. You can't do a combine of all of them or selected ones like with the report. So it's a little more limited, but basically you're going to have pretty much the same options here. And you're going to pick, you're going to want to pick the time period statistic to get this kind of widget. And that will give you the options. And then you'll choose, what type of format you want in an hour, a day of week, etc. You can choose bar or a line graph. So we'll change that to line just to see what that looks like. And again, I'll just leave it total count. So you don't really typically need search sets unless you're going to get more granular with things. And again, you don't really need to mess with the time period unless you want to specifically focus on business hours and exclude everything else. So let's save that let's see what the line graph looks like. I always prefer the bar. It seems a little I don't know. I just like the look of it better. But you know, it's all up to your preference. Zoom busy hours, same thing. There's not really a lot of difference in the configuration here from the CUCM ones. You can use existing reports. So if you've already got the report built, you can just use the search criteria from that report and pull it up, rather than, you know, if you do this widget, then you got to create your own search set again and do all of that. I'd rather just use an existing report if I have one. Yeah, that's pretty much it for that one. And then I think Cube is pretty similar. Like the only one that's really different as far as putting it together is the CSQ. The options are kind of different, but the other ones all pretty much kind of follow the same format. You basically just pick your criteria, your search set. I use the existing Cube report for that as well. You pick your time period, so you can do you know, kind of the same options. You can do. I just did 1 day for the Cube because, like I said, it's a lot of data, so I didn't want it to take too long to load or refresh here. But you know, you can do up to previous month, previous quarter, whatever you want. Yeah, I think the only one that's significantly different from the others as far as the setup is the CSQ one. And then the CUCM one is going to be pretty much like the others. I'll take a look at one of these. So yeah, we're doing by hour of day for the time period type. So even if you have a report that has a different time period type in it, it's not really going to matter, because if you use a search set from an existing report, it's just going to take the search criteria, but it's not really going to take all the grouping stuff and the time period stuff. So whatever you set the widget to here is going to override that. And it's just going to basically use the same search criteria and then display the data however you set it up here in the widget. And then again, if you want to exclude anything time-wise, you can. But it's pretty straightforward. You know, you just pick the report you want or create your own search set here. And then, you know, pick what statistics you want to see, and it will just combine them all into the chart. So I think that's about all I got time for. Any questions, John?
Well, Brian, awesome job.
Thank you.
You presented a lot of material, and I'm hoping that our attendees found something in there that they can take into their practical application. We do not have anything, any questions in the Q&A, and it may be for the best, because we're sliding over time.
I was about to say, hopefully that means I've done my job then.
Yes. So I'm going to wrestle back control and share. Okay. See my screen?
Yep, looks good.
All right. So we're down to the moment you've all been waiting for. If there's no questions, you got one last time, slip something in.
Going once, going twice.
All right.
Or just email us at support@Variphy if you have any questions that pop up later.
Absolutely. So the winner of this week's workshop gift card is Brent Meyer. Congratulations, Brent. Your account manager will be reaching out to you shortly, get you paid.
Right on. Congratulations, Brent.
Now, don't forget to join us next week when Dre and Jim won't go out on a limb when they present how to upgrade Variphy on Windows or Linux. All right. I'd like to thank you all once again for taking time to join us today. You all have a great week. Take care now.
Thanks, John. Thanks, everybody.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.